Hello guys. In this lecture, the topic discussed is understanding the legal system for certified fraud examiners, CFEs. Certified fraud examiners, CFEs, play a critical role in detecting, investigating, and preventing fraud. To perform their duties effectively, CFEs must have a basic understanding of the legal system. This knowledge ensures that their investigations are conducted properly, evidence is admissible in court, and legal complications are avoided. In this lecture, we will explore key aspects of the legal system relevant to CFEs, including types of law, the distinction between substantive and procedural law, and the importance of understanding public and private law. Why CFEs need legal knowledge? Question: what is the primary reason CFEs need a basic understanding of the legal system? Answer: B. To ensure they follow proper legal procedures during investigations. CFEs operate within the legal framework, and their work often intersects with law enforcement and the courts. Understanding legal procedures is essential to ensure that evidence collected during investigations is admissible in court. Investigations comply with legal standards, avoiding potential lawsuits or ethical violations. CFEs maintain credibility and professionalism in their work. Types of law impacting legal disputes. Question: which of the following is not a type of law mentioned as potentially impacting the outcome of legal disputes? Answer: A. Environmental law. While environmental law is significant in its own right, the types of law most relevant to CFEs include: constitutional law, governs the fundamental principles of a country, including individual rights and government powers. Statutory law, laws enacted by legislatures, such as securities laws that govern financial fraud. Common law, based on judicial precedents, which can influence fraud-related cases. Administrative law, governs the actions of regulatory agencies, such as the SEC or IRS. International law, relevant in cross-border fraud cases. Constitutional law. Question: constitutional law in a country is primarily based on what document? Answer: A. The country's constitution. The constitution serves as the foundation of a country's legal system. It outlines the structure and powers of the government, the rights and responsibilities of individuals. For CFEs, understanding constitutional law is important when dealing with cases involving government agencies or constitutional rights, such as due process. Administrative agencies and their role. Question: which branch of government are administrative agencies typically a part of? Answer: C. Executive branch. Administrative agencies, such as the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, or the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, are part of the executive branch. They are responsible for implementing and regulating specific industries or activities. CFEs often interact with these agencies during investigations, especially in cases involving regulatory violations. International law. Question: what is the primary means of enforcement for international law? Answer: C. Diplomacy. International law relies on agreements between nations, as there is no global enforcement body. CFEs working on cross-border fraud cases must understand international treaties, trade agreements, and the role of diplomacy in resolving disputes. Substantive versus procedural law. Question: what is the key difference between substantive and procedural law? Answer: B. Substantive law defines rights and duties, while procedural law governs how legal cases are decided. Substantive law defines what is legal or illegal, e.g., fraud, theft, embezzlement. Procedural law outlines the processes for enforcing substantive laws, such as rules for evidence collection, filing lawsuits, and court procedures. For CFEs, understanding both types of law is crucial to ensure investigations are conducted properly and cases are handled effectively in court. Public versus private law. Question: which of the following is an example of a legal dispute falling under private law? Answer: B. A disagreement between two neighbors over property boundaries. Public law governs relationships between individuals and the government, e.g., criminal law, constitutional law, Private law governs relationships between private individuals or entities, e.g., contract law, property law. CFEs often deal with both types of law. For example, public law applies in criminal fraud cases. Private law applies in civil disputes, such as breach of contract or property disputes. Application to fraud investigations. Question: which type of law would be most relevant to a CFE investigating allegations of fraudulent financial reporting by a publicly traded company? Answer: D. Statutory law. Fraudulent financial reporting is typically governed by statutes, such as securities laws. CFEs must understand these laws too. Identify violations. Work with regulatory agencies like the SEC. Ensure compliance with legal standards. Importance of understanding public and private law. Question: why is it important for CFEs to understand the difference between public and private law? Answer: D. All of the above. CFEs must understand the distinction between public and private law too. Determine appropriate legal remedies, for example, whether to pursue criminal charges, public law, or civil litigation, private law. Decide on legal actions. CFEs may recommend civil lawsuits to recover damages or criminal prosecution for fraud. Understand burdens of proof. Criminal cases require proof beyond a reasonable doubt, while civil cases require a preponderance of evidence. A strong understanding of the legal system is essential for CFEs to perform their duties effectively. By knowing the types of law, the distinction between substantive and procedural law, and the differences between public and private law, CFEs can ensure their investigations are legally sound and contribute to the resolution of fraud cases. This knowledge not only enhances their professional credibility but also ensures justice is served.
Hello guys. In this lecture, the topic discussed is understanding types of legal systems and their role in fraud examination. Welcome to today's lecture on types of legal systems and their role in fraud examination. As certified fraud examiners, CFEs, understanding the legal systems of different jurisdictions is vital to conducting investigations effectively, ensuring compliance with the law, and presenting admissible evidence in court. In this lecture, we'll cover the major types of legal systems, including unitary and federal systems, the differences between common law and civil law, and how adversarial and inquisitorial processes function. We'll also discuss the role of juries and the responsibilities of judges in these systems. By the end of this session, you'll not only understand these systems but also how they impact fraud examination and legal proceedings. Types of legal systems. 1. Unitary and federal systems. Question: in a unitary system of government, where does the primary lawmaking power reside? Answer: C. The central government. In unitary systems, all governmental power is concentrated in the central government, making it the primary source of laws. Regional governments may exist, but their powers are delegated by the central authority. Question: how do federal systems differ from unitary systems in the context of fraud-related laws? Answer: B. Federal systems allow for shared jurisdiction of fraud-related laws between national and regional governments. In a federal system, power is divided between national and regional governments, allowing both levels to create laws, including laws related to fraud. This shared jurisdiction can impact how CFEs handle cases. 2. Common law versus civil law systems. Question: what is a defining characteristic of common law systems? Answer: C. Judges play a significant role in developing law through their decisions and the establishment of precedents. In common law systems, judicial decisions, or precedents, play a major role in shaping the law. This means that a judge's ruling in one case can influence future cases. Question: in a civil law system, what is the primary source of legal guidance for judges? Answer: C. A comprehensive civil code. Civil law systems are based on codified laws, meaning judges rely on a written set of rules, a civil code, to guide their decisions. Precedent plays a much smaller role here. Key difference between common and civil law. Question: what is the primary difference between common law and civil law systems in terms of legal principles? Answer: C. Common law systems rely heavily on judicial precedent, while civil law systems prioritize codified laws. This distinction is crucial for CFEs working across jurisdictions, as it affects how fraud cases are prosecuted and how laws are interpreted. Understanding legal systems. Question: why is it important for fraud examiners to understand the structure and judicial system of different jurisdictions? Answer: B. To determine which laws apply to a particular case and how legal disputes are resolved. Legal systems influence how disputes are resolved, which laws apply, and what evidence is admissible in court. CFEs must adapt their strategies based on the jurisdiction. Adversarial versus inquisitorial processes. 1. Adversarial systems. Question: which of the following is a key characteristic of an adversarial legal process? Answer: B. The parties involved drive the discovery process and present evidence. In adversarial systems, the prosecution and defense are responsible for gathering evidence and presenting it to the court. Judges act as neutral arbiters. 2. Inquisitorial systems. Question: in an inquisitorial system, who holds the primary responsibility for discovering evidence? Answer: C. The judge. In inquisitorial systems, the judge actively investigates the case, gathers evidence, and questions witnesses. This system is more focused on fact-finding. Key differences between adversarial and inquisitorial systems. Question: how do adversarial and inquisitorial systems differ in their approach to the defendant's right to remain silent? Answer: I. Adversarial systems protect this right, while inquisitorial systems may compel defendants to testify. In adversarial systems, defendants have the right to remain silent. In inquisitorial systems, defendants may be required to testify as part of the investigative process. Question: which statement best describes the presumption of innocence in inquisitorial systems compared to adversarial systems? Answer: B. It is weaker in inquisitorial systems. While the presumption of innocence exists in both systems, it is more strongly emphasized in adversarial systems. Role of juries and judges. 1. Role of the jury. Question: in a typical adversarial system, what is the primary role of the jury? Answer: D. To determine the facts of the case based on the evidence presented. Juries are responsible for deciding whether the evidence proves guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, criminal cases, or by a preponderance of evidence, civil cases. 2. Role of the judge. Question: how does the role of the judge differ in adversarial and inquisitorial systems? Answer: A. Judges in inquisitorial systems are more active in questioning witnesses and seeking evidence. In adversarial systems, judges are neutral moderators. In inquisitorial systems, judges take an active role in investigating the case. Bench trials in adversarial systems. Question: which of the following is a situation where a judge might act as both fact-finder and decision-maker in an adversarial system? Answer: B. A bench trial where the defendant waives their right to a jury. In bench trials, the judge decides both the facts and the law, taking on the role of the jury in addition to their usual responsibilities. Understanding the various types of legal systems is essential for CFEs to navigate fraud investigations effectively. Whether it's the centralized power of a unitary system, the shared jurisdiction of a federal system, or the reliance on precedent in common law versus codified rules in civil law, each system has unique implications for fraud cases. Additionally, understanding adversarial and inquisitorial systems helps CFEs prepare for different judicial processes across jurisdictions. By mastering these concepts, CFEs can ensure their investigations are legally sound, their evidence is admissible, and justice is served.
Hello guys! In this lecture, the topic discussed is understanding the globalization of fraud cases and legal complexities. Welcome to today's lecture on the globalization of fraud cases and legal complexities. In the digital age, fraud has transcended borders, becoming an international issue that fraud examiners must navigate with expertise. The rise of digital technology, cross-border transactions, and globalization has introduced new challenges, such as jurisdictional disputes, enforcement of domestic judgments, and recovering assets from foreign parties. This lecture will cover key factors driving the globalization of fraud, the differences between criminal and civil fraud actions, and how factors like jurisdiction, venue, and choice of law impact international fraud cases. By the end of this session, you'll have a solid understanding of the legal challenges and solutions in the context of global fraud. Key points discussed. 1. Why fraud cases are increasingly global. Question: what makes fraud cases increasingly global in the modern era? Answer: B. The rise of digital technology and cross-border transactions. The digital age has enabled fraudsters to commit crimes across borders, with online payments, e-commerce, and cross-border financial systems creating opportunities for international fraud. Fraud examiners must understand the complexities of tracking digital transactions and working across jurisdictions to address these crimes effectively. 2. Challenges in recovering assets in international fraud cases. Question: what is a key challenge in recovering assets in fraud cases involving suspects in foreign jurisdictions? Answer: C. Domestic judgments may not be enforceable against foreign defendants. Even if a victim wins a case in their home country, enforcing that judgment in another country can be difficult due to differences in legal systems and a lack of international enforcement agreements. Fraud examiners must work with international legal teams and mutual legal assistance treaties, MLATs, to recover assets effectively. 3. Jurisdiction and venue in fraud cases. Question: what legal principle determines which court has the authority to hear and decide a fraud case? Answer: B. Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction refers to a court's authority to hear and decide a case based on its subject matter and the parties involved. Question: what is the term for the geographic location where a lawsuit is to be tried? Answer: B. Venue. Venue determines the specific geographic location where the case is heard. Fraud examiners must understand both jurisdiction and venue to determine where a fraud case can and should be prosecuted. Question: which of the following is a factor considered when determining which jurisdiction's laws apply to an international fraud case? Answer: C. The nationality and residence of the parties involved. Factors like the location of the parties, where the fraud occurred, and where the transactions took place are key in determining jurisdiction. 4. Criminal versus civil fraud actions. Question: what is the difference between criminal and civil actions in fraud cases? Answer: C. Criminal actions can lead to imprisonment, while civil actions typically result in financial remedies. Criminal actions are initiated by the government and may result in imprisonment, fines, or restitution. Civil actions are initiated by private parties seeking damages or specific performance to recover financial losses. Fraud examiners may assist in both types of cases by providing evidence and expert testimony. 5. Legal remedies for victims of fraud. Question: what type of legal action might a victim of fraud pursue to recover financial losses from the perpetrator? Answer: C. Civil action. Victims often initiate civil lawsuits to recover financial losses from fraud perpetrators. This may involve seeking damages or other remedies like asset recovery. The role of international cooperation. In the context of global fraud, international cooperation is critical. Fraud examiners often work across borders, collaborating with foreign authorities, navigating MLATs, and adhering to international laws to bring fraudsters to justice. Understanding the principles of jurisdiction, venue, and choice of law is essential in these cases. The globalization of fraud presents new challenges for fraud examiners, from enforcing domestic judgments in foreign jurisdictions to navigating international legal principles. By understanding the key concepts of jurisdiction, venue, and differences between criminal and civil actions, fraud examiners can effectively address fraud cases in an increasingly interconnected world. This knowledge not only helps recover assets but also ensures justice is served on a global scale.